I was watching a video on YouTube one day, and the great Killian Hennessy was being interviewed, and he made one of the most profound statements as relates to fragrances I've ever heard. And you guys have heard me quote that line before here on the channel, and he said, some fragrances can be worn kind of as a shield of protection, and some fragrances are worn as a weapon of seduction. Wow. I said to myself, that's it. I have 10 fragrances today that are absolutely weapons of seduction. Let's talk about it. What's going on YouTube? I'm Darren the Bowtie Fragrance Guy, the fashion and fragrance channel. Man, if you're into fashion and fragrance, I hope you don't mind subscribing to the channel. And if you do that, make sure you hit the bell icon as well to ensure when I upload new content, you'll be one of the first people to get notified. So guys, on today's video, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about 10 fragrances that leave no doubt, no question in the mind or the imagination that they are absolute weapons of seduction. Now, I understand that regardless of what fragrance you wear, it should make you feel good. You should like that fragrance. And certainly, most of us that wear fragrances, of course, we wear them for ourselves, man. We just want to smell great. But again, some fragrances to me are a little bit more playful, and some fragrances can kind of, as Killian said, put us in our own little safe place. They're comforting. You know, we can kind of be encapsulated in our own little scent bubble and in some way feel protected. But those are not the fragrances that we're talking about today. We're talking about fragrances, in my opinion, that leave no question, no doubt in the mind, the intent behind these fragrances when you wear them. They are absolutely sexy fragrances, and I want to talk about those. So I'm gonna run the intro, and when we come back, you'll see what fragrances I'm talking about. So if you want to see what I have on the list today, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's just jump right into these 10 fragrances. The first one up is one that's a little bit newer acquisition to the collection, but I talked about it last week. Like I said, guys, if you want to check this fragrance out, head over to So Avant-Garde and make sure you do so, because this is a sexy beast, and it's actually in the name of the fragrance. This is from the house of Veronique Gabai, and this is called Sexy Garrigue. Sexy Garrigue. My God, guys, I told you before, this fragrance is all about a vanillic, amber accord, and patchouli. That's really what you're gonna get with this fragrance. And again, anytime you have one of those nice ambery, vanillic kind of accords in a fragrance, it really works when you talk about fragrances that exude sex appeal, and that this fragrance does. Now, there's also a little bit of there's a note of pine in here as well, so it gives this slightly kind of green, almost herbal nuance to the fragrance as well. It kind of breaks up the what would be an overly, in my opinion, heavily ambery, patchouli-centric fragrance, and gives it a little bit of a freshness in a way. But man, this thing is extremely sexy, guys. So if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a weapon of seduction, check this one out from the house of Veronique Gabai. This is called Sexy Garrigue. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list is actually from the house of Initio Parfums, and I'm talking about this one. Magnetic Blend number 7. This is pure sexiness, guys. I made a video when I talked before about musk in fragrances. Musk is a note that has been used in men's fragrances really since the beginning of time. And it is a note that is very popular in really masculine fragrances, the note of musk. Now, it is synthetically created, of course, but it still is very, very sexy when you put it in a fragrance. And this is pure musk, all right? Now, when you hear that, don't be turned off. Don't think that because you can actually wear this by itself, but it is really good blended with other fragrances as well. So any fragrance that you want to take the sex appeal of it to the next level, this is a good fragrance to layer it with. But again, even on its own, man, it's like pure, sexy muskiness. Almost like what ISO E Super does with Molecule 01, which is another sexy fragrance. This is really about musk, and it is freaking dynamite when you talk about being a weapon of seduction, guys. So check it out. Again, it's from the house of Initial Parfums, and this one is called Magnetic Blend number 7. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list. This fragrance is one I've had for a few months now, but man, when you talk about a weapon of seduction, the reaction to this fragrance is over the top. It's from the brand of Mind Games, and this is called Jadoo. This is Jadoo, and this stuff is a sexy beast. I am telling you guys. You get some mandarin in here. Oh my God. You get mandarin in here. You get rose in here as well. You're gonna get that pomegranate, which that pomegranate note is really what really makes this fragrance, in my humble opinion, man. The pomegranate, you get some leather in here as well. This is just a sexy fragrance. Again, this is one you really just have to get your nose on. You see what I'm talking about? Get it and wear it out in public. Get yourself a sample of it and wear it out in public, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is an absolutely weapon of mass destruction when you talk about weapons of seduction. This is one of the best in the collection when you talk about sex appeal. It is from the house of Mind Games. Guys, you got to check this one out. It's called Jadoo. All right, guys, the next fragrance up is one that I have ranted and raved about for quite a while on this channel. At this point, it is from the house of the Harmonist, and this is Hypnotizing Fire. Hypnotizing Fire. Not much needs to be said about this fragrance because those that have put their nose on it have been in 100% agreement with me for the most part that this is a sexy beast right here. You have an allspice up top with cinnamon, this kind of cinnamon nutmeg combination with some rose in here. A little bit of a smokiness from a Popinax with some vanilla on the dry down. Sexy monster right here, man. Check this fragrance out, guys. If you haven't yet, there's a lot of good commentary out there about this fragrance, and in my humble opinion, it is all true. It is a sexy fragrance. Get it in your life. It's from the house of the Harmonist. This is called Hypnotizing Fire. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list is one of my favorite fragrances. This fragrance makes a lot of lists that I do because it's just that great. But when I talk about fragrances that are a weapon of seduction, this is one of the first fragrances that comes to mind. It is from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is Oudsatinmood. Oudsatinmood, guys, and if you have never put your nose on this fragrance, of course, is all about the note of rose. There are two varieties of rose in this fragrance. Turkish rose, damask rose, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. And oud, my God, this is so good. This is one of my favorite rose oud fragrances in my entire collection. Guys, this is one of those fragrances where oud is really sexy in the fragrance. The oud rose combination in this fragrance is second to none. I know this fragrance is more popular than a lot of the fragrances that I'm talking about today, so I won't go on and on about it, but no. If you're in the market for something that's a weapon of seduction, look no further than Oudsatinmood from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Another fragrance when we talk about this topic that really needs no introduction, man. This is from the house of Kilian. This is Straight to Heaven Extreme. And this is, simply put, the sexiest fragrance on the planet. This is rum and this is cedar wood, and the booziness is hot and heavy in this fragrance. The cedar wood is hot and heavy in this fragrance, and it is just a sexy monster. Cannot explain it any more than that. You have to put your nose on this stuff. Look, you can't get Straight to Heaven Extreme. Straight to Heaven is still pretty much the same thing, except for the rum and the cedar is amped up in this, and this performs a little bit better. But get the regular Straight to Heaven, guys, because it'll give you a very similar response, all right? So check it out from the house by Kilian. Of course, the man Kilian himself had to have one on the list. This one is called Straight to Heaven Extreme. Now, I have oftentimes talked about how good this fragrance is, and again, this one is centered around the note of musk, and this one is from the house of Frederic Malle. You've heard me talk about this several times. This is Musk Ravageur. Musk Ravageur. You're gonna get cloves in the opening of this fragrance. You're gonna get cinnamon, and of course, musk are the main notes to my nose. Now, again, back in the day, that clove was really heavy. I have a batch of this from 2010. The clove was really in your face. It turned some people off. But in the later batches of Musk Ravageur, they have toned it down. Definitely this one that I have in my hand, the cloves aren't as prominent as they were in that batch from 2010. I really think this helped with the overall wearability of this fragrance. But at the end of the day, we're talking about fragrances that are sexy. Yep, and this is one. Again, that cinnamon, kind of cinnamon vanilla combination, give that Cinnabon kind of vibe that people like to talk about. Then, of course, on a dry down, that musk is really what makes it sexy. So you have that right amount of sweetness in here that is offset by that very masculine musk note in this fragrance. Dynamite scent, definitely a weapon of seduction. It is from the house of Frederic Malle. Again, this is called Musk Ravageur. All right, guys, so the next fragrance up on the list is one from the house of Boda City Victorious, and this is called Ardent. Ardent. And the easiest way for me to explain what this fragrance smells like to you guys is if you smell Noir de Noir from Tom Ford, which is a sexy and sensual in its own right rose fragrance. So imagine Noir de Noir sprinkled with a honeyed beeswax. Yep, that's what this is. This is a sensual, seductive fragrance. One of the best in class. And again, if you're looking for something that is like date night, sexy situation approved, you guys need to get your nose on this, man. I'm telling you, it is absolutely dynamite. It's from the house of Boda City Victorious. This is called Ardent. All right, I challenge you guys. If you look in the dictionary by sexy fragrance, which of course don't do that, it's not in there. But if you want to look in the dictionary, if they did have a picture of a sexy fragrance next to the definition, this fragrance is probably what you would see a photo of. It is from the house of Tom Ford. This is Tobacco Oud. Tobacco Oud. What is in this fragrance? Well, tobacco is in here, obviously. There is oud, and there is whiskey. Those are some of the main notes to my nose. There is some sweeter elements in here to sweeten it up as it dries down. But guys, this is so good. It is so good. When you talk about this genre, you talk about this category of fragrances again, it is so good. It's polarizing. There are some people that may smell this and not like it when you wear it, but there are going to be a lot of people that are really drawn and feel compelled to want to inquire about your fragrance when you wear this. It's really, really polarizing. But when you talk about sexy fragrances, this has to be in the topic of conversation. It's from the house of Tom Ford. And again, this one is called Tobacco Oud. All right, guys. And last but not least, this fragrance comes from the house of Roger Parfums. And this one is called Parfums de la Nuit #2. Parfums de la Nuit #2. And what is in this fragrance, you may ask? Well, rum. So you're going to get that booziness. A lot of times when you find a boozy fragrance, it starts to really hint towards that really sexy fragrance genre. So you have rum in here. You're going to get some coconut. You're going to get some tonka bean in here as well. And when it dries out, to really drive home that kind of Roger Parfum sexiness that, Roger Parfum fragrances usually have a little bit of a mature, almost skankiness to them. This has that, which is coming from civet and castoreum. All right. So that castoreum kind of animalic, kind of leather accord. This thing is extremely sexy. Now, this fragrance has been nicknamed the Seducer. Enough said. Check it out. It's from the house of Roger Parfums. This is Parfums de la Nuit #2. But that's it, guys. That is my time. I hope you enjoyed the list today. What are some fragrances you have in your collection that you consider absolute weapons of seduction? I would love to hear from you down in the comments section. And as always, I sincerely appreciate your time and your attention to these videos. I know you guys don't have to watch, but you do. And I sincerely appreciate that. And don't forget to make sure you take a few moments out to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks out there that you think could use this information and find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darren. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.